Welcome, Kat. We're going live now. It looks like it is live. All right. Yes, and it's the top of the hour.
Namo, Namo Tassa
Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So, always wonderful to start that way. Welcome out of retreat, IA.
Thank you.
So, shall I share the screen and
We'll
finish up the world?
we'll just do your introduction first,
Open
right?
Mac OS.
Oh, no,
that's
you usually
just
introduce what you.
yeah. So this is week 4 of our exploration of the world, and the sutta that we read through last time we'll go through in more detail this time, and then wanted to look at the view of the world before and after awakening of the Buddha. And so he's going to describe the before and then the after. If we get to the after sutta, we'll see. And today, do you want to say anything on this one?
No,
Okay.
I think you've been following it more closely.
All right. So today, the monks who have been crossing from Texas to Washington, D.C. have arrived in Washington, D.C. They'll get to the official end of the route at 1 p.m. East Coast time. And so today we wanted to dedicate the sutta study to the walk of peace, and the sutta itself will have some reflection of that. So today is my peaceful day. We can all continue on that. And just wanted to let people know that tomorrow they will do a worldwide metta meditation. They're expecting, I think, like 10,000 people in person. And then I'm not sure if it's live streamed just on Facebook or YouTube, or, we'll have to just look. But anyone who wants to join.
Through their website.
Yeah, or through their website. So I'm not totally clear on the access yet, but so that would be 1:30 Pacific time tomorrow, 4:30 East Coast time.
I think there's more than one way than Facebook to get through.
Probably.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Because not everybody has Facebook, so.
So we can, and I saw a clip of him this morning saying, and so this will be the end of the official peace walk, but let's continue to walk in peace, everyone, and for a better world. So we'll dedicate today to that. Okay, so we've done a bunch of suttas, and we're now down at Sutta 9 and 10. We actually did more than that, but we're going to see seeing the turmoil in the world and what the path the Buddha took, and then perhaps we'll get to after the awakening, contemplating the world. I've got to change this. There we go. So just as an introduction to the sutta, this is from the commentary that gives the context. And the sutta appears in the Sutta Nipata, I think it's number 415, and it's called Taking Up Arms, Atadanda. And the sutta came about because the Buddha was staying at Kapilavatthu, which is a city in the Sakyan area, so his family area, and there was a quarrel that broke out between the Sakyans and the Kolyans. And there was this river, water, stream that would kind of flowed between their territories, and when the river got diminished, then sometimes they needed to go and make channels so water channels that would be able to water their fields. And one day, while each clan was building the channels, they argued and insulted each other's ancestors. And, they list some of the insults. I won't go into them. You can just imagine.
Basically, it's a fight over water rights.
It's a fight over water rights, and the method they were using was denigrating the ancestors. Your grandma, whatever. And each of them went back to their leaders and reported this, and they prepared for battle. That was the reason they were going to go up in arms. And so the Buddha saw this, and he understood that they were aiming at conflict. And so he came down to stand between them. And when he spoke to them, they stopped preparing for war and instead set up a Dhamma seat. And then the Buddha gave them a lot of teachings, and as well as let them know that they actually shared a lot of ancestors. So just a historical note, they did end up going to war later. So it's not like the Buddha completely changed their mind for all time, but
at least stopped one conflict.
Stopped one conflict. And out of that, there were more people who joined monastic life, and so it's a mixed world. We do what we can. So I thought I would go through, I enjoyed this sutta so much I ended up translating it. And so I thought I'd just give you a little sense of why it's valuable to look at the Pali, and how varied translation. It's very good to go look at multiple translations, even if you don't know the Pali, because you'll see nuances and that words can be taken a little bit differently. So I'm only going to do this on this slide, and then I'll just have the vocab for the rest of them. This format, I believe it's called a trilinear. Aya Sobana showed me, before I was even in Anagarika, was starting to show me how to learn Pali and translation. And so you would take each word of...
Trilinear would have the
full
Pali sentence.
Oh, above it? Yeah.
And then the word by word translation would be, because the word order is different. The grammar and word order is different than English. It's radically different. It doesn't make any sense if you do it word by word by word, and just in that order. So you get the scrambled, to our sense, scrambled word order.
It's like
when you do the word by word translation below, and then you have to figure out. I've done these translations.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you have to figure out actually what it's trying to tell you. But if you don't have a translation to start with, anyone else's translation, and you're trying to understand what's being said, sometimes it can be extremely confusing. You have to understand how to transpose it into a sensible English. Sometimes you can do it and it's like poetic.
Yeah.
It becomes poetic because of the way when you speak in poetry, they change word order for emphasis. But until you understand what's actually being said,
you have to take it bit by bit and then rearrange it to make sense. And then you'll see, then you go and you look at other people's translations. This is what I did. I had a like a workbook that and then I found somebody else's translation. They didn't always give you the source. Yeah, I remember that in some of the study books. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
let's do
and then you can also see that there's a lot of artistic and literary license that people interpret things like, because otherwise it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Because there's some cultural context that we don't understand.
Right.
So they have to put it in some wording that makes sense in English.
Yeah. So in this case, the first line is Attadanda Bayang Jatang. And if we look at it, that's arming oneself fear-born. And like you were saying, that isn't necessarily going to make a lot of sense. And so when we look up the grammar, this is instrumental. So it's, by this or with this. So I said, with the taking up of arms, danger grows. And
See, you're using artistic
right, and putting
license there, because, but it makes sense.
and Bhikkhu Sujato said peril stems. So again, changing the word order even more, but it makes sense. Peril stems from those who take up arms. So this is just to give you an example of, and then I, was looking. Dispute just didn't really land well for me, so I looked at another dictionary which had translated as quarrel. Look how people quarrel.
Okay, and jati is jatam, born, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the chance where jataki, we're talking about what's born, what's a,
So you're saying grows, and he says
stems.
stem. So that's like the origin or how emerges.
Emerges.
So jati is where it comes from, or how it emerges, how it grows. Yeah, so this is so beautiful about the translating or looking at the Pali words.
Yeah.
Because then you get a really fuller sense of what's being said, and sometimes it can't be captured in English.
Right. A lot of times it would take a lot more words to really capture it, or it needs a poetic way of turning it so it lands in whatever language you're translating it into. So I just wanted to show you kind of an example that it's a little strange, but over time it can be a real tool to kind of break things down in this kind of way. So the translation I came up with was, with the taking up of arms, danger grows. Look how people quarrel. I shall declare the sense of urgency from coming to be so startled. And Bhikkhu Sujato, peril stems from those who take up arms. Just look how people conflict. I shall extol how I came to be, stirred with a sense of urgency. I know. And yeah, go ahead.
Because the Buddha was talking about prior to his his full awakening, before he went forth into monastic life. This is where I think it was Ajahn Brahmali had said that this is actually, and other teachers have said that before he went forth, he was seeing this. And so, but now he's speaking to a group of monks or maybe other disciples, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, lay people, and now
well, the commentary is also saying
he's declaring. You're saying he declares a sense of urgency. That's because
how I came to urgency.
Yeah, how that came up for him.
Yeah.
And then also declaring it to us, the sense of urgency to us.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see when I see this word declare here, I'm saying, oh, he is speaking to us. And that we also, I mean, this is also that we look around and what do we see?
Exactly. I just felt this was so relevant. I actually heard Shelley Graff at Common Ground had given a talk using one of these, the next stanza we'll get to. And I thought, oh, that's a great sutta to add to this collection here. And Shelley's in Minneapolis, so seeing it right on the streets.
Yeah.
So that was the impetus. It's like, this is what's going on in our world right now. And a lot of people have said to me, it's bringing up samvega, this sense of urgency in them. So yeah, you can see that word here, samvega, sense of urgency. And it can also be anxiety. It literally means being I'm just going to flip back a few.
But it's a spiritual, of the way I've heard it, first when I heard it translated, it's a sense of spiritual urgency.
Mm-hmm.
So there's anxiety, but when it's used in a particular context,
Yes. Yeah.
it's meant to send you on the search.
Right. Right. And a lot of times the Buddha would take a word that was common in use and give it a different nuance, send it in a more positive direction. But it's still, historically, you can see, and I feel it in myself. Sometimes I'll go, depending on the quality of my mind, it will head towards the anxiety. The starting sensation is there, and do I direct it towards worry, or do I direct it towards what's forward leading?
Letting go.
Letting go.
Do I wosaga? Do I want to wosaga, or do I want to mohaga?
All right. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. People had asked about this slide. Yeah. Okay. People had asked about this slide deck, and if I'm not going to have it like polished up before, but if you're on this or you're seeing it this week before I go into retreat, you can write to info, and I'll give you access to it. It won't be posted with the YouTube video until after I've cleaned it up after my 5-week retreat. So just disclaimer. So looking at the commentary about this, what is the Atadanda, the taking up the rod, the commentary says the rod of violence takes 3 forms, and we can see this in our own lives: the physical misconduct, verbal violence, and mental violence. So bodily, that is not, it's killing, stealing, sexual misconduct; verbal, lying, divisive speech; harsh speech, idle chatter; and the mental is covetousness, ill will, and wrong views. So these are the when we take up the rod, this is what we're taking up, are these kind of behaviors.
And sometimes they're all congealed into physical, verbal, and mental. Well, it has to come from mental.
Yeah.
First, and then bodily and verbal violence arises from that.
Yeah.
So this is where we have to the deepest root is the mental,
Purify
that we really have to pull out. This is the
barb we'll be getting to.
this is this is why there's so much emphasis on the mind in the Buddha's teachings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of this phrase is, that the fear arises, or fear is born. And fear is another good vocab word, bhaya. And that's either the state of mind of fear, or it can also be the objective conditions of fearfulness, danger, misery. So the commentary says the evil consequences of wrong conduct in this life and future existence. But I think just if we keep it at that level of it's fear, or that sense of fearfulness, the agitation, the danger, the misery.
It's internal and external.
Internal and external. Yeah.
Bhaya can be internal, but the one we really need to take care of is the internal.
Okay, so then I'm going to use this format for the rest of them, where you can see the full Pali, like Ayasujana was saying, how it looks in the Pali. The vocabs over here, we're not going to go through every vocab word. I've highlighted a few throughout, but some of it will be just looking at the translations. And you can see here, fear, again, that's the Paya, and here it's,
Bhaya.
Thank you.
There it is.
There it is. So you can see that it's in a compound word. So it's here opposed to, hostile, averse to. Wait, where am I? Oh, here, sorry. I didn't sleep a lot last night. Fear, terror, and then combined with avisi, possessed of, took control or entered. So I used possessed. Having seen people wriggling like fish in little water, seeing hostility one to another. I am possessed with fear. Do you want to read the Bhante Sujato ones? Or
Hmm?
do you want to read the Sujato
Okay,
ones so
sure.
there's two voices?
I saw this population flounder like a fish in a puddle of water. Seeing them at odds with each other, fear came upon me.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Um, so then I think that one's pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
that verse. The next one, this is the neighboring people of the world without essence, and we'll get to that word. Without essence, everyone in all directions tossed about, wishing for a living of my own. Actually, that's the word we'll go. I did not see any place untaken.
That's interesting.
I
Well,
know.
I'll have to spend time with what you translated, but yeah. So I can read this. The world around was volatile. All directions were in turmoil. Wanting a home for myself, I saw nowhere unsettled.
Yeah, and you can see the difference here is more striking that without essence and volatile. I think this is partly that Bhante Sujato is giving us something really evocative around what
So
does it mean?
asara is it's asara.
Asara.
Asara is is essence,
Yeah.
substance. So lacking the means absence of. So
Which means it's volatile. So I like it.
um,
I mean, I like the translation. And then we'll look
so
at this.
so yeah. So with
Go ahead.
I think the thing is with Pali is that it's multifaceted, and sometimes the Buddha particularly used words that
Yep.
could be taken more than one way.
Exactly.
Ajahn Amaro said that he used puns
A lot. I mean,
a lot.
and you can really see and nuances like, oh, if you take it this way.
And then he spoke to different, and so he intentionally spoke so that it would strike one person one way and another person another way, so that no matter he could he knew people's mind states, and he chose a word that would evoke something different in a different person because that's where they were in their development, that they needed that. So he was. This is what teachers say
Yeah.
about the Buddha. That's what they believe.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so difficult to translate, and why you get sometimes really radically different.
Yeah. I'll show
translations.
one that has some very radical differences.
Yeah.
This one I wanted to get to the word bhavanamatano. If we go back here, I like the Bhante Sujato wanting a home for myself.
And I saw nowhere unsettled. That's yeah.
Nowhere unsettled. And he had a comment about the multiple meanings of that he picked that word because it also has multiple meanings in English. And here I said, this one, is a little bit of a stretch, this translation, wishing for a living of my own. But I felt it was applicable. It fits, but it's a little bit of a stretch. So sometimes you will see.
So Icha is wishing, and the bhavana. Oh, bhavana.
And so that's
Okay.
that's what we'll look at on the next slide.
This,
Isn't Pali a language that was created after the Buddha? He didn't actually speak in Pali.
there's a
Magadha?
Magadha, and they it's very close to Magadha, and I think it was I think they maybe tweaked a little bit, but it's not like it's radically different language.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's kind of like it's like Latin or something like that, you know, and it became,
Italian and French and
yeah,
other Romance languages. And,
yeah. So it evolved later, but I think that the thing is that they had the recitation of the teachings, which is you know, that was checked time and time again for accuracy by large groups of reciters. When so it's more stable transmission that way than written language, because written language in script, the
yeah, one
minor,
typo and it
yeah, one typo
goes
in it
for
just,
history.
yeah. So to have a group of people checking, so yeah, there's a lot of discussion. It's not a radically different language than he would have been speaking.
Right, right, right.
So, but that's a good point to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, if you go into Ajahn Brahmali and others can go into better detail.
A lot more scholarly detail than
Yeah,
we've.
but yeah, it's not like a made-up language.
Right. But I also want you to just see that you don't have to be a scholar to start to get some real juice out of looking at the Pali. Yeah, and also please go talk to the real scholars when you want the lowdown on all of
Yeah,
it.
right.
So here, this combined word, you're probably familiar with atta, you know, but looking at the kind of the overall, it's yourself, your soul, your spirit, your essence, for oneself, of oneself, of my own. So there's a lot of ways that you can form a sentence with that. And the bhavana, you know, and actually I'm kind of it's bhavana. It's all short ones. So it can be your home, your dwelling place. It's literally your being, and so that's why I thought, well, it's your living. You know, how do you make a living?
It's one of those words that it has more than one
Yeah,
meaning. So I don't know. It depends
yeah,
on context rather than
yeah,
only one true
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly,
translation. So, but it could be seen broader than just a home.
exactly,
So a
exactly.
dwelling place, for me, the dwelling place could be mental,
Absolutely.
because this is like a Brahmavihara is a mental, can be a mental
Abode.
dwelling, a mental abode.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes more sense to me than existence, but I could see how then existence. I mean, this is the thing. People can argue our translations day and night, you
Yeah.
know, and what makes most sense, and what touches your heart, and what's most useful for penetrating what the Buddha is actually trying to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
So he saw danger everywhere, and he was trying to find safety somewhere.
And you can talk about, you know, this word here, how the different things exactly the same way.
Right. Yeah. So
So loka, you know, it's everything from the population or the world system, or the world of experience.
but how is it in context here? What is
Well, in this one, it is the place. You
so
know.
in the sentence? Where's the
Oh,
sentence?
let's go back. I think this was the place. So
Okay.
here, the people of the world or the world, and here, so I took it as population, and Bhante Sujato took it as the place, and the
It's kind of like
Samantha.
when you talk about a town, this town is very radical, or this town is very conservative.
Right.
What are you talking about?
You're not talking about the buildings. You're talking about the people in the community and how they function.
Yeah, but also people are gathering at this particular location, and this particular area. There's seaport towns are usually more modern more diverse, more, they'll have more,
Because they've got more people going in and out of it.
yeah, so then there'd be all the forward-thinking people, all the radical people, they would gather at some kind of a hub, sort of a town. So the character of, like, the town, yeah, so this is how, so but he's talking about the world, which would be people populating, yeah, the populations, yeah.
So on Thursday, I used I've read three people's translations, which are the ones in this kind of orangey color.
It's got, yeah.
And you notice that the one that I translated for last Thursday, I actually changed it. I was like, so I said, all directions tossed. I saw nowhere unpopulated. And then I changed it by this Tuesday to wishing for a living of my own. I did not see any place. And that here are some other areas with Tanisaro Biku said the world was entirely without substance. Whereas over here, John Ireland says the world is everywhere insecure. And so there's some, nuances there. All the directions were knocked out of line.
Wow.
I know. And so reading these different translations will give you more, like, the nuances. It also helps us not get into fixed views.
Right, yeah. Well, it broadens how we can apply these teachings to our hearts and minds and practice.
And I've even gone to Sutta Central, and I'm like, wait a minute, that translation's different than I was when I read this last time. And then somebody told me, Bande Sudato goes in there all the time and
He changes
yeah,
it.
yeah, and it's lovely.
Yeah, and so I know, like, there's also Aya Santusika says, I said, well, what translation do you like the best? And she says, well, I take one that's really basically that I like the best, and then I change a word here and there myself.
Yep, that's my normal. So it's not that I usually do a full translation.
Yeah, and so I usually try to stay with, well, I just say, this is what this person says, this is what this, I like this one, and I would have used this word.
Yeah.
But see, there we go. When you start to be able to look at, and Sutta Central is wonderful because you can click on, I like it because you can click on a word, and then you'll see various translations, or then you'll have to go to a different dictionary.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's limited in what the digital poly they have.
And a couple of weeks ago, I think I showed you some of the different dictionaries. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep going.
Keep going.
Because we want also the essence of the sutta, and we're getting to that point where you mentioned the barb. But even those, every home was at odds. Having seen this, I was dissatisfied. Then here I saw a barb, difficult to see, embedded in the heart.
Yet even in their settlements, they were at odds. Seeing that, I grew uneasy. Then I saw the dart there, hard to see, stuck. Is it struck?
Stuck.
In the heart. Stuck in the heart.
Yeah.
So I want to make a comment on this one. Because he was raised in the very comfortable ruling class. But even within the safe compounds of their homes in the ruling class, they were quarreling amongst each other.
Yeah.
There was treason, there was, people were
murdered.
Yeah. So he was seeing, not just at odds.
Yeah.
He was seeing, it does say at odds here.
Yeah, both of us used at odds, but it's opposed, hostile, averse.
Yeah.
So we just both picked a gentler end of it.
Yeah. But there was definitely betrayal and
Patricide and
all kinds of things
yeah.
going on for the sake of greed.
Lust, hate, delusion. So the commentary says, what is this barb or this arrow? Sala, you dart. You'll see that in other suttas, that word. And the commentary says that's the barb of lust, hate, delusion, and wrong view. So that's what we're needing to extract.
So another thing too, if you start really examining tanha or craving, you can see that it itself is dukkha, it itself is painful.
Definitely.
So why don't you read your translation?
Afflicted by the barb, you run out in every direction. Only by pulling out the barb, you neither race around nor despair.
When struck by the dart, you run around in all directions. But when that same dart has been plucked out, you neither run around nor sink down.
And we'll look at that run around, sink down a little bit more.
Neither race around.
Yeah, I said race around. He said run around, despair.
Nor despair.
And so let's look at that. Nadavati nasidati. That's the commentary says one doesn't run to any of the destinations of rebirth, and one doesn't sink into any of the four floods of sensuality, views, becoming, and ignorance. And
That's what I was thinking about, sinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't show me the highlights, but here are two additional.
Because that's referring to other.
The flood. This
Yeah,
one's
the
the flood
floods.
sutta,
Yeah.
and I'm not totally remembering which one that is. It doesn't highlight, but you can.
You become submerged or sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So the first sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya, the very first, is
the floods.
Yeah.
So the running is ever seeking after sensual pleasure, and the sinking is overwhelmed by sensuality, views, becoming, and ignorance. I think that's probably explanatory enough. Then there's just this phrase in the middle where it kind of changes. It just Bhikkhu Sujato says it's agreeing with Norman that this is a reciter's remark. He's taking it as a locative of reference that the topic, and I took it that way, is the extraction of the dart, and which the remainder of the sutta is going to be about. So this is not part of the poetry, it's a linking.
So it would be understood
right.
by the audience.
By the audience, yeah.
And you'll see this.
Stage directions is what.
Well, you'll see this in the you'll see this commonly. There'll be different aspects. One part A, part B, part C. Part A is like the problem, the obstacle, and then part B would be what to do about
That's
it.
Where we're going.
How we deal with this. We see it. We have to see it. Then what do we do about it? And then the result. So there's like part A, B, and C.
Yeah. And so we're getting into, okay, so the world's a mess. Now what?
We see this clearly. We're not in La La Land and saying, if only I get that popsicle that I want, then I'll be happy.
Right. So, whatever you are enslaved by, in those can you.
You cannot.
You cannot. Yeah, thank you for helping my translation. In those you cannot engage. Piercing through sense desire from all sides, train for your own quenching.
Sadhu. Whatever attachments there are in the world, don't pursue them. Having pierced through sensual pleasures in every way. Train yourself for nibbana, extinguishment,
Yeah.
sadhu.
Nibbana would be a good.
Quenching, I like quenching.
I do too. It's just. Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. Okay. One should be reliable. So now we're getting into what do you do? One should be reliable and unassuming, honest and free of divisive speech, not inclined to anger. A sage would dispel greed and wrongdoing.
Sadhu. Be truthful, not rude, free of deceit, rid of slander. Without anger, a sage would cross over the evils of greed and avarice.
Sadhu, sadhu. And if there's any point you want to, stop or make a question, please do.
Clock.
Um,
You
Yeah.
do.
yeah, I do. Actually, I think I fixed that one. I think that's correct. Our clocks wander.
That's it. So,
Intent on nibbana, prevail over sleeping too much, laziness and dullness. Don't live in negligence. Don't remain proud.
prevail over sleepiness, sloth, and drowsiness. Don't abide in negligence. A person intent on quenching would not stand for arrogance.
Sadhu.
Sadhu.
Yep. Okay. One should not be drawn into lying, nor form affection for form. Fully understand egotism. Abstain from conducting oneself violently. And we'll look at that last word.
Okay. Don't be led into lying or get caught up in affection for form. Completely understand conceit and desist from hasty conduct.
You can see kind of a difference there, the violently and the hasty conduct.
So what's the word?
It's sahasa, so we'll go to the next slide here.
Violence, aggressive, hasty, rash, impetus.
Inconsiderate, impulsive, quick, sudden. So you can see that there's kind of two bases behind this, and I just when I looked at this, I actually wanted to just make sure that the other aspect was pulled into the translation. Is in my personal experience, when I look at when I'm being hasty and rash, impetus, inconsiderate, there's a violence happening. There's this aggressive quality within me. Mm-hmm. And so I like to see, oh gosh, those really are related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're related, yes, definitely, and it's a violence to yourself. I could see when you become more sensitive, when you people who are meditating, probably, well, yeah, let's say you've been meditating for a while, and suddenly the phone rings and you have to leap up, or you realize, oh, I have to go somewhere, mm-hmm. and how jostling inside that is. Mm-hmm. Or suddenly you've been on retreat and suddenly you're in the world and people are arguing with one another, or mm-hmm. people you see. I remember going into the grocery store and being overwhelmed by all the stuff, mm-hmm. and having to make a choice. I was in Anagarika, and then I saw this lady. This one lady had a newborn baby, and the other lady, I said, can I see I was standing in a line behind them, can I see the baby? And I could see the greed for the
child. And
I could see it, like this, when she was looking at it, suddenly, it was like, and she said that she and her husband were trying to conceive, but it was just startling. It was even something as seemingly innocent as a woman wanting to have a child, but that greed for wanting mm-hmm. something, it was just startling. Mm-hmm. So that jostling inside where your own, if you can see it, I mean, it's easier to see it externally.
But sometimes we see it externally and go, I do that too. Wow. And
Right.
the violence of it.
The violence. Yeah. So then you sit, but I think it's the sensitivity that you develop where most people can relate to hasty, rash, impetus, inconsiderate. But you can see this as a form of violence and aggression.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just, this is a stronger word. And so I think it's helpful to have these, so we can say, oh, I can see that in myself, but can I see the violence?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so valuable to look at the range.
Or also, probably when you've been meditating, you're shocked at if suddenly you're feeling enraged.
Oh, yeah.
If you've been meditating for a long time and then some memory comes up and it's hooked into a feeling of anger, and because you're more sensitive, you see the power of that anger. And it's just really shocking. It is violent.
It is violent. It is violent. Let's see. Okay. Don't long for the past. You just brought up the past. Perfect timing. Don't long for the past or prefer the new. Don't mourn what is perishing or get stuck on what's shiny. I just like the word shiny from Fireflies, so I brought it in.
Don't relish the old or welcome the new. Don't grieve for what's running out or get attached to things that pull you in.
Yes.
Shiny. Is the shiny in there?
Well, because the is visible or shines.
It does say shine.
Yes, I couldn't resist. Sometimes
But people
I
can
notice
relate to that.
people can relate to it, and I notice Bhante Sujato does that too, and that those are often the ones that he'll only put in temporarily on Sutta.
I see. Yeah.
Yes.
Dazzling.
That would be, yeah.
Right.
On
Craving
what's dazzling.
and other defilements.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the commentary on that word.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that attracts your attention, things that shine. That's why they have on ads, like Dion signs and
Yeah. Obey your thirst. That's an ad. Greed, I say. You're so good at getting the translation. Greed, I say, is the great flood. The swift current is longing. The starting point, contriving. The swamp of sensuality, so hard to cross.
God. I want to have a boogie board or something. Get over the flood. Greed, I say, is the great flood, and longing is the current. The basis, the compulsion, the swamp of sensuality, so hard to get past.
Yeah.
So we need the raft, which is the Noble Eightfold Path.
Or I just heard that Suvijana's made that more modern. It's going to use a boogie board. I think somebody needs to make a meme of that one.
A monk on him crossing the flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Noble Eightfold Path is said to be the raft that we need to construct ourselves in order to cross the flood. Or the swamp in this case.
A sage does not deviate from the truth. The Brahmin stands firm. They have relinquished completely, are truly said to be at peace.
Sadhu. The sage never strays from the truth. The Brahmin stands on solid ground. Having given up everything, they are said to be at peace.
Sadhu.
So the Brahmin is the Arahant in this case.
Yes. Yeah.
And solid ground is the other shore. So they've crossed the flood.
And we'll see the sutta getting more and more into this the part C, the realization aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll also notice, I think this is the third time in the sutta it's talked about not lying or not deviating from the truth. And so we can find by the repetition things that are really important for us to care for in our lives.
Internally, the truth, and externally.
Externally. Mm-hmm.
So being honest with ourselves as well as others.
Indeed, one who is wise, who is perfected in knowledge, having understood Dhamma, is disengaged, perfectly aligned while going about in the world, not envying anyone.
Sadhu. They have truly known. They're a knowledge master. Understanding the teaching, they are independent. They rightly proceed in the world, not coveting anything here.
Mm-hmm. And so you notice that the Buddha's disengaged, but he's still in the world. There's a from Jesus. It says of the world, but not, or in the world, but not of it. Or it's been a little while since I read the Bible, but essentially it's this same kind of thing of I'm actively. So the Buddha would look out and say, who has a little dust in their eyes? Who can I support today? So it's not like there was no being going about in the world, but when he walked away from that exchange, the monks on the peace walk were saying the same thing. They're like, "Oh, did you miss Aloka? When the dog was having surgery?" And he said, "Oh, I knew Aloka was going, but then I did not think about Aloka. You know, that Aloka wasn't here. It wasn't the interaction that I needed to be in right now." But then when Aloka came back, he was right back in this, lovely captured moment of playing with and petting Aloka. And so the Buddha, I felt, was like that too, fully in, but not carrying the burden with him. I think it's far more sustainable if we
Not
take
in
that
the
up.
world, but of the world.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I used to be able to quote it, and gosh, it's been a little bit too long. I'll have to look it up again because it was a phrase that really supported me.
Yeah, so you can. Could be
If
either
anyone knows, you can put
it
it
could
in
be
the
either
chat.
direction, but
Yeah.
the idea is that we still have the five khandhas. As long as we have the five khandhas,
Mm-hmm.
this body is composed of substance from the world,
Mm-hmm.
and the mind and everything else. Every speech, thought, or contact the sense gates. But
Yeah, we talked about the sense gates in week 1 of this.
and so he's not engaged. So we'll look at your translation. You're not engaged.
Is disengaged, and here they are independent.
Independent, not engaged in. So if we're not dependent,
Detached, disengaged, separate from, independent of.
yeah. We are physically. In order to sustain my body, I need water. I need air. I need my companion in monastic life. I need the lay community.
Mm-hmm.
In order to sustain this physical body, I need community. I need to be able to look at the teachings, read the teachings. So there's physical. I have to have a book or a computer or something in order for me to continue learning. But maybe it's a kind of cute with the idea of the dog.
Yeah, there's form.
There's
if
it's not there.
And there's not attachment in that same way.
Yeah, there's not attachments. There's not. It's like if it all ceases, then the body ceases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if some reason I don't have any food, I mean, it could be famine, it could be something happens.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're not attached, I mean, I need it, and then for an arahant, this is why they say the arahant is best for them be in monastic form, because they'll just go out with their bowl, and if no one puts food in their bowl, they don't eat. But
Yep.
if they do,
Yep.
people do, they will. And so so they'll just continue going on alms around and doing the routine of a monk until for whatever reason their body finishes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a non-attachment. I'm not like thinking, oh, I really want to go to so-and-so's house because they make this wonderful, I shouldn't mention any kind of food, because some wonderful food that they make, you know, some wonderful vegetarian food that is really special. So I don't have that kind, and if I don't get that particular food, or don't get any food, then there's but
Which is what we're going to get to right now.
right, yeah.
Whoever crosses over sense pleasure, where clinging to the world is difficult to escape, they do not grieve nor worry. One who has cut off craving is free.
Yeah, so this is actually it right here.
Right here.
Right. One who has crossed over sensuality here, the chain in the world so hard to get past, grieves not, nor hopes. They've cut the strings. They're no longer bound.
I think that's such a beautiful way to put it.
Sadhu.
All right.
Maybe we should just keep reading, huh?
Let what is past wither. In the future, don't let them be anything at all. Let there be anything at all. If you don't seize in the middle, you will walk at peace. So we got to our stanza about the peace walk.
Sadhu. What comes before, let wither away, and after, let there be nothing. If you don't grasp the middle, you will live at peace.
Sadhu.
So what's the middle?
What's the middle? Well, it's translated as like the present. You know, right now, even don't cling to the present is one way of looking at this. So
Yeah.
not the past, not even in the present do you grasp at it. That in but not of, or of. I have to go look that up. Okay. From all name and form, nothing is taken as mine. With that absence, there is no grief. Indeed, they do not suffer loss in the world.
One who has no sense of ownership in the world realm of name and
realm.
in the whole realm of name and form, does not grieve for that which is not. They suffer no loss in the world.
Okay. There is nothing whatsoever that is mine, not even owned by another. Not finding possessiveness, there is I don't have, no grief. There is no I don't have, no grief.
If you don't think of anything as belonging to yourself or others, not finding anything to be mine, you won't grieve thinking, I don't have it.
Almost. I speak of these benefits when asked about one who is unshakable, not harsh, not greedy, unperturbed, and serene everywhere.
Not bitter, not fawning, unstirred, everywhere even. When asked about one who is unwavering, I declare that that is the benefit.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Oh, wait. Oh, there's more. Oh. Should we just go a little over to...
Yeah, go.
Okay. I speak... no, we just did that. For one who knows is unperturbed, not fabricating anything. They stop endeavoring, see safety everywhere.
For the unstirred who understand, there is no performance of deeds. Desisting from instigation, they see sanctuary everywhere.
Yeah, we sure could spend more time on all of these too, but here we are. Sages don't speak of themselves as equal, lower, nor superior. Calmed, not selfish. They don't take up nor reject.
A sage doesn't speak of themselves as being among superiors, inferiors, or equals. Peaceful, rid of stinginess. They are neither ditching nor taking up. Ditching. That's probably an Aussie expression.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
Yeah. Okay, so I
That's
think we
it.
won't go into the next sutta. So we'll
Okay, that's
stop.
an interesting ending, though.
Yeah, so you're not rejecting, nor are you picking it up to, like,
That's what the ditching is, I
yeah.
guess.
yeah.
They throw it away.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
throwing it away or taking it up.
Yeah.
So ditching is, yeah, that would be really.
Yeah. Let's ditch this place. I'll stop the sharing.
Sometimes Bhante Sujato uses Aussie expressions.
Yeah.
Like he was a chicken, a hen is a chuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So only in Australia, everybody else in the world would understand, English speaker would understand hen. I
Right.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he does that just sometimes. He
Sometimes
also
it's-
uses Aussie trees.
Oh, yes, it's like,
But I think it's appropriate because the Buddha did say put it in the vernacular of where you are.
where you are, yeah,
Um.
but then you have to, never mind. We love Bhante Sujato.
Absolutely, and the great
We have a lot of respect for him.
major
He's done amazing.
offering of the Sutta Central and all of
Yeah,
his talks.
Right, right. But it's so easy to criticize. I sit back and say, well, I would have done it this way instead. Did I put together a Sutta Central? No.
Nope.
But I can sit and criticize.
Okay, well, we'll look for your translations in the future. Thank you, Aya.
Well, thank you, Ia. That was beautiful.
So shall we do the Araham and stop the recording, and then we can
Certainly. Sounds like
have
a
a off
plan.
recording
Un
conversation with the people
Yes.
who are here.
Okay. Oopsie. Just don't knock over the...
Oh, and I'll be gone starting next week for 5 weeks of retreat myself. So Aya will continue. Yay.
Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
All right.
Oh, yeah, thanks for joining, and I'll be here next week, and Yannicka will be blissfully in retreat, hopefully blissfully.
I'll be on retreat dealing with whatever it is. And some of you had mentioned wanting the slides, so if you just say that you want them on info@pasadivihara.org, I'll give you access to them. They're not complete, so they won't be put on YouTube. You know, Mudita won't attach it to the YouTube video until they're cleaned up a little bit, which is not going to happen before my retreat. I'm pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
So, all right, I better turn the recording off. Oh, up here?
Yep.